So here's what we got. We are 4 minutes to the daily close, Saturday, January 19th, 2019. Try to type this up here, but things are a little bit slow. Anyway, so looking at the daily, we had this massive move over here. This is about 4 o'clock or so in the morning Central Time. Looks like we swung this up about 100. Yeah, about $100, $106 move up. Now that broke the previous level of resistance that we had in this ballpark around the 3600 zone. So it was a very big move up. Seen on, of course, there's 1,000 lines on this chart, but on this particular trend line is where it found its body resistance. It actually got stopped on this other line here. Let's see if I could throw up a 4-hour chart. We'll get the origins of those lines. Yeah, okay. So on previous trading, just these levels here, this was a move down from a high, right, to a low, and then you failed to make a new higher high based off of this price action. Came down, and you ended up making a higher low. So at this point, you were at a trend, and you started cycling this squeeze over here, right? So you start wide, and then prices get narrow and narrow and narrow. That's where this particular line came from, and that's it worked out. In this situation, it worked out perfectly to end up coming down and taking away just on that wick side. Now the other one that came for the body, yeah, we'd have to play around for a minute and see if we could find that one. Let's see if I swing over to a daily anyway, because that is what we are going to look at. Give it a second for the chart to catch up to speed. And what do we got body wise? It's obviously going to be different because we're not looking at it. It should be this guy over here. Came off of this top here, which then swung from a swing high during the dump down. All right, so during the major dump from 6,400, we ended up having this brief moment where we went sideways before another dump. Same thing here, brief moment sideways before another dump, and then we ended up coming back and failed to make a new higher high at that point. This line right here dictates this high that came up here, right, and ended up breaking some levels of support, but failed to come up over our 44 line, and that's where that line came from. So less traditional importance, but it ended up playing out okay right here. Let's get rid of all this crap and let's just take a look at what we have going on here for the daily. So less than a minute to go. Volume wise, less than average, nothing great here. Looks like 745, yeah, give or take. Yeah, it was about 745. Still sideways, overall, local, overall with this low and this higher low, I guess you could say we're in a bit of an uptrend, but you painted this lower down here, which is lower than this low. So we're looking for a break either way. You're range bound, basically from 35, give or take, to, well, that would be on the high side, to about 4. So you're sort of looking in this ranged out box, right? So you need a bigger move either way. Either to the upside, you got to be breaking up over into the 4s, or on the downside, you got to at least temporarily, you need to break lower than this guy down here at 34.79, and then of course you'd be looking to break 31.21, which was the yearly low for 2018. The candle itself, if it was in an uptrend, which, you know, if we call just these last few days an uptrend, you'd be looking at something similar to a shooting star, which would then be, you know, inclined to fall lower from there. That would be a break from current trend. If we were looking at, let's say, this high and this high and this high, and saying, all right, well, I guess we're in a downtrend with a, let's see, a higher low and a lower low. Of course, you would have to skip all of this price action, so that wouldn't make too much sense. But if you were just to focus on this zone and say that you were in a downtrend, then, yeah, I mean, you know, you go with an inverted hammer. Price action came up, got pushed back down, and then you would be looking to continue path up, or, you know, reverse trend up to the high side. In any event, it wasn't all that special of a candle. Not for, at least for what we needed to see to get out of this range. It is the first time we closed up over, just in the last few days, this level here around the 36 zone. So of course this is going to bring everything back on screen, but if we were to do something like this, I know the cipher's still there. So if we were to do something like that, closing up over that loan is up over that zone is actually a good thing to see if you're going for the high side. We gotta get some of this stuff off the chart. Let's see what we could do about a cleaner chart here. Right. Okay. Yeah. Now, for what we're looking at here, this is the 200 EMA. We were looking at short time frame setups on the 5-minute chart. We saw that this was the big spike up. That was the big blast over the 200 EMA with new highs, and then we trailed lower and lower and lower. Now we just broke south of the 200 EMA. Just on this move alone, I mean, we've already given, I would say, well over half back just from this. Let's bring it down to its low down here and walk this back up. Let's see what we got as far as right now. We're sitting on the 618. So if it is going to find support, 618 would be a great place to find support. The 200 would have been support, which it was for the last few periods. It ended up failing, and now we've broken south of it. So, I mean, short term, very short term, we'll be looking to come back and retest the 200 to clear a low after a reverse, to clear a low, make a lower low from here, and look for setups on the way down. Working our way back down, 618, 786, 886, back down to a full retracement down here. Definitely there's plenty of levels of support that we should be hitting if it is going to continue to go down. You know, there's 1,000 levels that we could be looking at until we get back into an area that is a little bit more dramatic, and that's when we're back into that range zone, which we were just in. So, quick breakout. Could just be could be a fake out. Could have just broke out. Could be a stop hunt for licks. You know, could just be volatile trading. That's all. You could see, yeah, see, now that looks real good. On a 4-hour, you can see where we stopped, and that's that same 200, right? So 200 EMA on the 4-hour ended up stopping this abuse on the bullish side from getting any higher. But you could see after this dump down, right, you went sideways down, bit of a diamond formation over here, and another big dump. Now this was a large move, this candle, but you got it all back only within a couple periods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 periods, and you cleared up over this. Not only that, you cleared up over all the mess, right? So this was actually a really important move. This candle here, this candle didn't quite do the same thing that this one did. This candle would have needed to close up above this little mess right here, and it didn't. In fact, it only traded right up partially through this candle and ended up getting denied and closed well below it, almost in line with, close to the top of this wick over here. All right, so again, range bound, not too much happening. You got some volatile candles, yeah, but nothing too dramatic. If we call this our new low on a local basis, new low and a new higher high, a new higher low, and a new higher high, then you'd be looking at this as a pullback, and then you'd be looking for another higher high. So, you know, you'd be looking for this particular setup here. You'd be looking to get a high and a high, right, coming up around this zone. And then these guys down here, this would be your low, and this would be your low. And then you would have a channel is born. So reasonably speaking, you can expect any trading all the way down to the bottom of the channel, so long as that paints a higher low. And then trading would continue up as long as it paints a new higher high. Now again, this is on a this is a 4 hour. This would be a local trend. Obvious long-term trend is down. This would just be a short-term swing trades to see what happens. Now inside of all of this, that's where you saw the 5-minute trading that you can do inside of all this chop over here. Again, you got, this is another diamond right here. There's patterns all over the place. So if you choose to play on a 1 hour time frame, you're going to see different moves all within those moves there. So if we were just to look real quick, we'd say just this alone right here would be a double top. You'd be looking to break south. Confirmation from the 200 would give the idea that that's going to be resistance. So you could have taken this double top down here. Let's see, this would be too low for a double bottom. This is a good level of support, which you did find over here. On the smaller scale, got a low, a high, a higher low, and then the big break. So there's a couple goodies in here. If you were to just draw trends here and then play the break to the south, that could have worked out. Let's see, A, B, C, D. You got a bit of an M in here. So you might have been able to actually do, let's check this out real quick. Let's say on the A, the B. That's a 961. Nah, that's not gonna work. Nope. No. If we did, let's scope this real quick. Our B, our A, our X over here. No, definitely not. Nope. Okay. Well, in any event, yeah. B, C, D. Nah, no good. No good. The double top would have been, I mean, that's something to play. You would have found probably looking for support right here, the bottom of these candles here. So unless you front run it, that would be a tough trade to get out of before it started reversing course on you. And of course, this big spike here, you know, didn't pay any mind to the 200, not in this ballpark. Right now, come back and retest the 200. That's an option. You would have wanted to get into that trade a long time ago, probably when it broke through these highs here, which it just did on this candle. That would have been an okay spot if you were confident that one, you like the channel that we're in, and two, that this high is meaningful enough to the point that once you broke it, you felt like that was a bearish bias. At this point, at least on the 1 hour for me, I would wait to start trading underneath this 200. Just like we were on the, I think that was on the 5-minute chart. I just put the 4 on though. 4 hour chart, you're already underneath it, so there's nothing wrong with that. You went underneath that during that giant spike down. Now, for something like this, you hit the giant spike down, you hit your low, right, and then you made another lower low. But the problem with that is you haven't been down here ever since. You got this zone, that's your lower low, and everything's been up since then. So a tricky market to play on the 4 hour, but it is good to understand what the 4 hour is giving you, you know, just like it is what the daily is giving you and the weekly is giving you. We're clearly in a downtrend, so anything to the upside is a counter trend play. Now in the local trend, you know, the micro trend, yeah, you know, we have a low, we have a higher high, a higher low, and a higher high, so this is giving us a local uptrend. But you have to keep in mind that you are within, you know, very much a downtrend. Just these two legs alone would give you the high and the lower high. Okay, with the low and the lower low. All right. So that'll do it for the daily. I'll certainly be back tomorrow looking for the weekly candle close and seeing what kind of trade setups we had on the smaller time frames, and seeing what is to come, seeing what that weekly could give us. Let's take a quick preview on that. Give that a second to load up. And we'll take a look just real quick at the monthly, weekly, daily 4 hour breakdown, just so we get an idea of what we're looking for tomorrow. See if we're sort of headed in the right direction based off of the last 6 or so days of trading. Come on, load it up. You have to, you gotta bear with it. It needs time to focus. Come on. Come on. Well, this is an excellent time to take a sip of your drink. Maybe go out and take a walk. I'll pause the video. Fast forward when you get back. It's like your own little DVR. Okay, here we go. Kind of. It's working on it still. It's not fully loaded. All right, so anyway, top left is monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour. On the weekly chart, what do we see? We see some things in the way. So again, we wait. That's all right. It's no problem. We still have our other weekly info on here, so let's get rid of this. If we don't mind waiting just a little bit longer. Come on. You can see daily. It's clear to see on this chart. You can see that range that we've been in. Trying to break up over the range, but not able to close up over that range. You can see all of this, what used to be support is now resistance. So it's a lot. It's a lot to get over. All right. Okay, so as far as the weekly is concerned, it has been bullish so far. All right, not too bad. Overall weekly trading, really, it's incredible. Overall weekly trading, we're up just about 5%. We opened at 35.13. We're currently trading 36.87. Okay, so it's about a 5% move up. Does have a lot of resistance right in that current zone. That's where we've been trading. You can see that more clear on the daily, and then on the 4-hour you can see the rejection, downside, sideways, another attempt up, and it looks like rejection again, and then more sideways trading. So yeah, that'll give you a clearer picture of just where we are overall and what has been happening, what kind of trading has been happening. All right, so that's our little preview for tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll pick it up from there. Until then, I'll see you on the exchanges, and happy trading.